January 2016, you made your debut on Twitter by sharing a video of you singing the national anthem and writing. And you wrote, India's freedom struggle remains unique even today. Respecting it is the only way to keep it and set new world standards. Fantastic. Fantastic statement. And then, 637 days later, on the 24th of October 2017, Mr. Kamal Hassan, you tweeted, do not force or test my patriotism at various random places. This was also in the context of the national anthem controversy. And I told myself, well, these are two different statements made by one individual. Yes. Firstly, what is a random place? Is it a school? Is a school a random place? Is 52 seconds ahead of watching a movie saluting our country a random place? What do you mean by random places, and why did you make that remark?
Random place is a movie theater. Random place is a beach or a park where people come there to sit down and have a picnic and have a drink or something like that. Most people come to cinema after a pizza, probably a drink, and sit there. And I meant random places like in a bar, like in a restaurant where they come to eat. You don't have to test their thing. It's not a spot check. And let me tell you, I'm not sort of beating my chest about it. It's something personal. And when Shruti and Akshara were children, it used to rain in August, and I remember that we used to stand in rain, hoist a flag in our house and sing our national anthem. Then they grew up and they went to various places, various countries, states in India, so we couldn't get together to do it again. So I stopped doing it when there was rain because the flag didn't look magnanimous as it should. And I thought, why have a wet flag and sing at it? We'll do it at any other time. It need not be August 15th if it is raining. If it isn't, then it's fine. That's the kind of man I am. If you see an old film of mine, I have reacted very badly, exactly the same way as I tweeted as many number of days after the Republic Day tweet. I react very violently to a man who doesn't respect the national anthem in a film. Of course, it's a movie. And I was 19 at the time. I believed in it. I expressed my criticism very violently, but I've changed over time as a man. The same views I hold, but I say it with more compassion. And that's what I did in both the tweets.
No, but Mr. Kamal Hassan, two counters to you. Why does standing up, first of all, your comparison to a park and a bar and a beach are attempts at hyping it. I was talking about a movie hall, which is not a park, a bar, or a beach. It's a public place. It's 52 seconds. Why should standing up for 52 seconds in a movie theater be considered a test? It is a matter of pride for every Indian, especially for someone like you. Question number two, does this make your politics more relatable to the anti-BJP forces? Does this make your politics more relatable to the anti-BJP forces? Are you doing it more for appeal than for conviction?
No, you're mistaking me for the man who refuses to stand up for it. I'm not saying that. I will stand up. But I hate to see other people who don't stand up. I'll pick up a fight with them. I don't want that. So these kind of dichotomy within my group. And cinema is an entertainment. Then we should do it every time in Parliament, every time in anywhere the people meet, even for small bank meetings. We must insist that before corporate meetings, they should play the national anthem. But should we? I think they must choose the time, and the nation already has fantastic occasions. When the army meets, when the PM addresses us on August 15th, it's so colorful, so beautiful to watch it, and I will stand up for it. Some countries like Singapore play their national anthem at the end of the day's television broadcast. Even that, because everybody is lying down and watching it with a drink inside them. I somehow feel that we shouldn't do that. But we can, if you still insist that it should be inculcated in children and people. You can find austere, somber occasions to do it. not frivolous places like cinema. Am I calling cinema frivolous? It's not an essential service. So when they are going there to entertain themselves,
Yeah, it's not.
suddenly putting in, there might not be in a
I mean,
mindset.
again, polite disagreement. I would say, what's wrong with paying tribute to your country every day, every moment, every second? But that's a difference of perspective. But, Mr. Kamal Hassan, your biggest impulsions, but the comment on Hindu terror that you made was many people felt, I also felt that night, I said it was out of line. And even for the most forgiving people, it was out of line. You wrote a column and you said that, quote, right wing cannot challenge anyone saying there are Hindu terrorists because their terror has spread into their camp as well. Union Minister Rajnath Singh said that you were trying to politicize this issue. And this was the problem, making comments for votes. A Hindu Makkalkachi worker from Tanjore district filed a police complaint against you for defamation. Why did you make this Hindu terror remark?
The fact is that it was translated. I didn't make a remark leading to that, but the fact remains that I'm not stepping back and saying that I did not say anything similar to that. But translation from one language to another is a complicated business and sometimes dangerous also. So translation, bad translation and quick translations might sometimes lead to this error. I was addressing people of Tamil Nadu in a Tamil language in a Tamil weekly magazine where I'm writing an article. And I have always spoken these kinds of thoughts out loud, but I've been very, very careful in what I'm talking about, what I'm addressing about, and why. In this particular case, I had used the word extremism, and people are saying there's no difference. Well, that's a difference of opinion about how you got educated in the language, so I'm not going to defend that. But the fact also, I'm not going to 1947 to prove my point about extremism creeping into a religious ideology, which is turned political. All politicians try to whip up support through rhetoric. I was not doing that. I was only indicating that it will not do good to a large group of people in India who call themselves Hindu to be indulging in any kind of violence or even be associated with that is not good. It's not dignified for them, and that is what my article spoke about.
Yeah,
and they cannot say that there's nothing like that happening.
But interestingly, Mr. Kamal Hassan, even as the BJP and the RSS started protesting against you, CPM activists also came out and they started burning effigies of the RSS and the BJP. And they're saying that if you talk about Hindu terror, why don't you speak in the same breath as strongly, as loudly, as topically, and as often now about Islamic terror? They don't speak about Islamic terror as much now as you speak about Hindu terror.
We will.
Is that something
talk
got to do
about
with your political stance or the one you're dialectic?
The whole world is talking. No, I'm talking about the Indian situation. If you talk about the Islamic part of it, extremism in Islam, I'm once again using the word extremism because I want to be kind and to the larger populace who are not indulging in all these violences. So when you simply say Islam or Muslim or Hindu, it just affects a larger part of that demography who are not indulging in these things. It is a small group that indulges in this, which is not going to bring a great reputation to either of these religions. I'm not saying which is great or which is less. But if you want me to talk about
but ISIS is not
extremism in Islam, the whole world. It is not India.
ISIS is not Islamic extremism.
But it could come to India.
ISIS is not extremism, it's terrorism. Yeah, ISIS has already come to India. ISIS operates in India.
Okay, let's
Why
call
is Kamal Hassan not talking about ISIS?
Yeah,
Why is Kamal Hassan not talking about Islamic terror? And one minute, let me allow me to just make my point, and I'll hand it over to you after that. My point to you is, my point on you is this, and I'm happy we are having an argument on this, is the fact of the matter is that when you try to compare Hindu terror, and this is my view, Mr. Kamal Hassan, that when you try to compare Hindu terror with Islamic terror and or Hindu extremism with Islamic extremism, first of all, I don't agree with extremism. You are trying to create an equivalence which does not exist. You cannot compare the Harkatul Mujahideen, the Jaish-e-Mohammed, the Lashkar-e-Toiba and the ISIS, right, with Hindu fundamentalists. You cannot. You cannot compare them to the Bajrang Dal. At a philosophical level you might, but these are organized terrorist groups as opposed to groups which are not organized terrorist groups, but they're antisocial elements. So what is extremism and what is terrorism, I'm sure you know about.
Yes.
Why are you trying to create an equivalence between the two which does not exist?
Yeah. No, I'm not finding, and you are trying to, because you asked me, why are you not talking about the other community? Well, let's talk about Christians, let's talk about Muslims, we can talk about all, but I'm talking about what could ail Tamil Nadu. I'm speaking from that point of view and going. My article was written in Tamil and it can apply for the whole nation. But what I was saying, once again, I'll reiterate, since you don't read the language, I said it's creeping in to this fold also. And it is not becoming, and it's not going to bring them great reputation. This is my comment. It is not my point to prove that these are violent ones. I abhor violence, whatever community or religion it belongs to. I mean, violence is quite old-fashioned.